Hey everyone, welcome to today's update. It's Wednesday, March 18th or 19th, and we're going to talk a little bit about the autopen controversy with Biden that's happening right now. I would love it if all of the pardons could be overturned, but is it going to be able to stick? So let's get into it a little bit.
President Trump says he's canceling all the last-minute pardons Joe Biden issued to members of the January 6th committee because it was signed by an autopen and not by hand.
It's not my decision. That'll be up to a court. But I would say that they're null and void because I'm sure Biden didn't have any idea that it was taking place.
9 members of the committee got preemptive pardons on Biden's last day in office, including Liz Cheney.
Did the president even know about these pardons? Was his illegal signature used without his consent or knowledge?
Is there any evidence on that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out.
Previous presidents have signed bills with an autopen. In 2005, the Department of Justice concluded a president doesn't have to personally sign a bill for it to become law. Plus, legal experts say nothing in the Constitution says pardons even have to be in writing.
The president's given a lot of latitude with clemency. It's often been speculated that a pardon could be scribbled out on a napkin and would be valid if that was the will of the president.
Okay, so look at the happy picture. We're just going to put a little tree right there. What was that guy's name? The one that used to always be on, it was PBS, and he would always be doing the paint. And up here, we're going to put a happy little cloud. Okay, so here's the problem that's going to be with all of this, as that one of those constitutional scholars was saying was, even if it happened to be an auto pen, and they're going to have to prove that it was, it might still be legal anyway if it was his will. Now, there were a lot of concerns about Biden that Jill was actually the one kind of being the president and making decisions. I know she was sitting in on cabinet meetings along with Hunter Biden, which should not be happening. Only the president and his council and his people should be sitting in on cabinet meetings. But they were, and I think she was taking a much more direct line with helping Joe out than we were ever really aware of. But it's happened before, not that it's legal, but it's happened before with President Woodrow Wilson. So he might have been one of the hardest working chief executives, and by the fall of 1919, he looked it. For most of the 6 months between late December 1918 and June 1919, our 28th president was in Europe negotiating the Treaty of Versailles and planning for the nascent League of Nations efforts, for which he was awarded the 1919 Nobel Peace Prize, an award he did not officially receive until 1920. Back home, however, the ratification of the treaty met with mixed public support and strong opposition from Republican, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't matter. It was that he had had a stroke, and it left him unable to function. I think the left side of his body, they're rambling on in this particular thing here. But his wife ended up signing documents as him, because he was, I think, ended up being wheelchair bound. He was struggling from after the stroke, and he was having serious issues. So his wife ended up doing it. Now, it was held secretive within the White House, so it didn't really come out until sometime later. But it would have negated everything that he would have put through, or that his wife put through on his behalf, because that's not legal to do. The people didn't vote for your wife. They voted for the man that's holding the presidency, or if ever in the future, the woman that holds a presidency, and not her husband. So you have to be the one signing these documents and doing it, not your wife or not another entity that's doing it on your behalf because your faculties are failing. Now, are they going to be able to prove it? Is there going to be a legal precedence that you can or can't use an auto pen, and etc.? That's going to remain to be seen. I know a lot of people are talking about this and then thinking, "Oh yeah, this is a gotcha," and I'm not optimistic about it. I think it's going to be an uphill battle to prove. Now, for me, I would love nothing more if he could negate all of the pardons and he could go after the January 6th committee that absolutely abused their authority, put January 6th protesters in jail for without proper representation or an expedient trial. They suffered as like war criminals for months and months on end, rather than being given a proper and fair trial to talk about their circumstances. I absolutely think that the January 6th committee should be gone after. And also with Fauci. Fauci should be up there facing nothing dissimilar to war crimes, in my opinion, for what he did to the American people, how he lied and gaslit us about COVID-19 and where it came from, how he manipulated the people, how he put in mandates to illegally force all of us into our homes, that you weren't allowed to walk more than a mile or two down the road and turn around and go back again. And all of those stupid rules that we had to follow during that time that did nothing and were helpful for nothing. And then getting that shot that we all know about that did nothing and didn't help anyone. In fact, cases coming out showed that it was actually detrimental to people. So I would love nothing more if Trump could undo these pardons, but unfortunately, I'm pessimistic about it. I'm not sure it's going to happen, and that would be unfortunate because all these people need to face responsibility for their actions and the parts they had in these horrible illegal actions that they all did. The January 6th committee, which should not have had any power whatsoever. They were just a committee. They should just be able to talk about it and then fuck off. And then Fauci for his crimes against humanity. But as far as the autopen controversy goes, I have a feeling it's going to be easier said than done to push this forward and attempt to negate his pardons, because if you're able to do that, you set a precedent of negating any other president's pardons down the road. So the pardons wouldn't matter for anything. So you'd get a pardon, and then 4 years later, you may not have a pardon anymore. So again, they've got to meet all the requirements for it, and I'm not so sure that's going to happen. But that's update number one, and we're going to get to some others here.